Imagine yourself in the tiny kitchen of an old apartment, where the smell of fresh coffee wafts and a basketball thumps on the floor. This is where our story begins, the story of Dwayne Johnson. And I want you to understand one thing. This story is not just about fame and money. It's about the human spirit, about how kindness and sincerity can change the world around you. Dwayne was born into a family where money was scarce and big dreams were the only wealth. The small boy weighing a few dozen kilograms dreamed of big stages, of being noticed, but at the same time, he always found time to help a neighbor, support his younger brother, smile at a teacher who doubted him. His heart was bigger than any iron bar in the gym, where he first lifted weights at the age of 8. He spent hours in the gym, and every sound of the barbell falling to the floor was for him like a drum beat that set the rhythm of life. There he learned discipline, patience, and strength, but at the same time, humanity. Because even among heavy weights and pain, he never forgot about those around him and always helped those who were having a harder time. School was the arena of his first battles. The sound of the coach's whistle, the rumble of the ball on the concrete, and the laughter of his classmates accompanied him every day. Dwayne was not the biggest or the strongest, but he had something that distinguished him, an incredible heart and an indomitable desire to move forward. And even then he learned one main thing. Real strength is not only in muscles, but in how you treat people and how you support those around you. And even when life dealt him his first blows, when his family's finances were fragile, when he saw that big dreams seemed unattainable, he never gave up. A small sign in a sports arena, the first autograph for a fan, the first joyful laugh after winning a match, all of this laid the foundation for his future. It is important to understand the contrast. On the one hand, a humble childhood, small rooms, simple joys, and on the other, huge dreams that were already waiting for their moment. And this moment came when Dwayne decided that his story would not just be about fighting in the gym, but about fighting for his own life, his own dream, and his own place in the world. He was the kind of guy who always helped others, even when he was at his lowest. It was this ability to remain kind, even when the world was testing you, that would become his greatest weapon in the future. And that's what set him apart from everyone else. He didn't just want to be great. He wanted to be great with the people around him. Imagine the silence after a ball drops onto an empty court. That's what Dwayne's life sometimes sounded like, when his dreams seemed unattainable. The first big blow came suddenly. He dreamed of becoming a professional football player, but an injury that shattered his chances left him on the verge of despair. The pain in his knee, the empty stands, the silence that seemed deafening, and the guy who used to lift hundreds of pounds felt powerless. It was a moment when many give up, but not Dwayne. He learned a lesson that would change his whole life. A crisis is not the end, but a signal that it is time to find a new path. And instead of hiding in sadness, he looked for opportunities. Every sound of the empty hall, every smell of gunpowder in the stadium reminded him that the strength is within him, not in external circumstances. His life at that time was like a torn script. Roles were not given, money was not enough, and the fear of the unknown became a constant companion. And yet he remained the same kind, sincere guy who supported others, even when he needed support himself. He helped young athletes in the gym, joked with coaches, supported his family. This ability to remain light in the dark is his first great victory. The first failures taught him the main thing. A dream without action is just a dream. And even when it seemed that all doors were closed, Dwayne found new ones. He began to try himself in bodybuilding, filming in television shows, commercials, anywhere where he could show himself to the world. Every failure, every injury, every rejected casting, all this became fuel for the next step. The contrast of this stage is striking. On the one hand, pain, disappointment, empty stands. On the other, inner strength, kindness, willingness to help others, and the belief that true success comes to those who don't stop. And even in the darkest moments, he realized, it is humanity and sincerity that make you truly strong. The lesson DWAYNE learned during this time was that failure is not a sign of weakness, but an opportunity to rise up even stronger. It was a philosophy he would carry throughout his life, from small roles on television to big blockbusters in Hollywood. Imagine the silence after a ball drops onto an empty court. That's what DWAYNE's life sometimes sounded like, when his dreams seemed unattainable. The first big blow came suddenly. He dreamed of becoming a professional football player, but an injury that shattered his chances left him on the verge of despair. The pain in his knee, the empty stands, the silence that seemed deafening, and the guy who used to lift hundreds of pounds felt powerless. It was a moment when many give up, but not DWAYNE. He learned a lesson that would change his whole life. A crisis is not the end, but a signal that it is time to find a new path. And instead of hiding in sadness, he looked for opportunities. Every sound of the empty hall, every smell of gunpowder in the stadium reminded him that the strength is within him, not in external circumstances. His life at that time was like a torn script. Roles were not given, money was not enough, and the fear of the unknown became a constant companion. And yet he remained the same kind, sincere guy who supported others, even when he needed support himself. He helped young athletes in the gym, joked with coaches, supported his family. This ability to remain light in the dark is his first great victory. The first failures taught him the main thing. A dream without action is just a dream. And even when it seemed that all doors were closed, DWAYNE found new ones. He began to try himself in bodybuilding, filming in television shows, commercials, anywhere where he could show himself to the world. Every failure, every injury, every rejected casting, all this became fuel for the next step. The contrast of this stage is striking. On the one hand, pain, disappointment, empty stands. On the other, inner strength, kindness, willingness to help others, and the belief that true success comes to those who don't stop. And even in the darkest moments, he realized, it is humanity and sincerity that make you truly strong. The lesson DWAYNE learned during this time was that failure is not a sign of weakness, but an opportunity to rise up even stronger. It was a philosophy he would carry throughout his life, from small roles on television to big blockbusters in Hollywood. After the first crises, after the feeling of defeat and despair, Dwayne Johnson took his first real step forward. And you have to imagine this moment. He is standing in a small filming studio, where the smell of paint and plastic, where the sound of cameras and the light of spotlights create the atmosphere of a new reality. Here, among small roles and commercials, his first victories are born. These were small things to the world, but giants to him. The first paid role, the first autograph for a fan, the first time his name was heard on television. All these were small steps that formed the staircase to a big dream. He felt every sound of applause, every rustle of the crowd, which did not yet see him as a superstar, but already felt his energy. And what is more important, he did not forget those around him. Colleagues, friends, coaches, everyone who helped him on this path. During this period, Dwayne learned skills, acting, sports, human. He understood that talent is only part of success, and the rest is discipline, perseverance, and sincerity. He worked in the gym every day, even when filming commercials or castings. Every sound of the barbell, every smell of sweat and muscle effort was a reminder to him. You can do more than you think. The contrast between his small beginnings and his big dream is especially palpable at this time. He could have stayed in his comfort zone, playing supporting roles or quietly training in the gym, but he chose a more difficult path. He chose risk, he chose growth, and even if success seemed distant, he knew, step by step, day by day, he was moving forward. His first mentors and friends who believed in him appeared in his life. They saw his sincerity, his willingness to support others, his desire to help, even when he needed support himself. This gave him the strength to go further, because true greatness is measured not only by awards, but also by how you change the world around you. One of the key moments of this stage is his first steps in the world of WWE wrestling. He did not become a legend immediately, but every match, every training day, every meeting with the fans, all this was a lesson in patience, discipline, and humanity. He learned that a true leader is not the one who shouts, but the one who supports others, who inspires, who believes, even when there is doubt and fear around. And although the victories at this stage were small, they laid the foundation for a great transformation that would come later. DWAYNE learned that success is not an instant explosion of fame, but consistent work, small steps that accumulate into something grand. Every sound of the cameras, every smell of the hall, every smile of a colleague and fan became his fuel, his inspiration. The most important lesson of this time: even small victories are great achievements if you remain kind and sincere. DWAYNE never forgot to help, support, and inspire others, even when he himself was looking for his chance. And it was this ability to remain human in the midst of his early successes that would become the key to his future greatness. The contrast between the little boy in a small apartment and the future star, who is slowly conquering his own path, is already starting to show. And you can feel his energy, his sincerity, his determination in every movement, in every word, in every training day. This period is proof that even in a world of great ambitions, sincerity and willingness to support others make you stronger than any blockbuster or contract. Imagine the roar of fans in a packed arena, the flickering lights of the spotlights, and Dwayne Johnson stepping into the ring for the first time as The Rock. This is the moment when the little kid from the apartment with the tiny kitchen, who played in school games and cheered on everyone around him, becomes a symbol of greatness. This is where his true transformation begins, not just as an athlete or an actor, but as a person capable of inspiring millions. His first steps in WWE were filled with doubt and fear. He stood in front of thousands of people, and his voice wasn't yet strong enough to fill the entire hall. But he remembered the lessons of his childhood: sincerity, helping others, discipline, and willingness to work even in the most difficult conditions. Every move, every step in the ring was not just a show. It was the story of his life, which he told through every muscle, every smile, and every scream. The choice of the name The Rock was symbolic. It was not just a nickname. It was a promise to himself and the world. He would be strong, unwavering, and influential. Every fight was a lesson in leadership and confidence for him. He learned to speak to people in a way that inspired, not commanded, to lead, not pressure, to support his colleagues, even when they were rivals in the ring. During this period, his humanity was especially evident. He did not forget about the fans who waited for him for hours and days, and even after victories he would sign autographs, take pictures with everyone who came up to him, and thank them for their faith. Each such moment was like a small triumph, proof that true greatness is not in applause, but in the hearts of the people you inspire. A dramatic turning point occurred at the first major tournament. Here he felt, to become a true icon, you need to take risks. He went to a match where no one gave him a chance. The arena exploded when he first shouted his legendary phrase, and this moment was the beginning of a global transformation. His name began to be recognized not only in the arena, but also in the media. Fans began to create fan clubs, and Dwayne realized he could change people not only physically, but also through emotions and motivation. The contrast between his first appearance in the ring and the childhood gym where he first lifted dumbbells is striking. From humble beginnings to a grand stage where thousands of eyes follow his every move, from small steps to a symbolic leap to greatness. But his principles remain the same: to help, to inspire, to be kind. The lesson of this stage: A bold step and a risk can change everything, but stay true to yourself. Greatness doesn't come from success or fame alone. It comes from how you impact the world and the people around you. And The Rock Johnson showed this vividly. Every step he took, every match, every act of kindness became part of a great transformation that prepared him for his next global breakthrough. Imagine the red carpet, the millions of camera flashes, and the noise of the crowd merging into one roar. This is where The Rock Johnson is experiencing his first real global breakthrough. From small roles in TV shows to the main character of blockbusters, a path that might have seemed impossible just a few years ago. It all started with films, where DWAYNE showed not only physical strength, but also charisma and inner energy. He learned on the go, mastered new styles of acting, worked on his voice, emotions, every movement. And although his body was his calling card, his heart and sincerity remained the main secret of success. He helped his colleagues on the set, supported young actors, and did not forget to thank the team for every frame. The first big blockbuster was a turning point. Trailers with his name on them, the frenzied attention of fans, the first autographs for thousands of people. The contrast between the little guy from the gym and the man whose photo is published on the covers of magazines was incredible. But DWAYNE did not let this change his inner compass. He remained the same kind, sincere, and humane man who always sought to support others. One of the key moments of this stage was the film, where he first combined power, charisma, and humor. At the premiere, he stood and looked at the crowd of fans, feeling the emotions of each, their joy, surprise, admiration. It was the moment when he realized, fame and money are important, but true greatness lies in influencing people's hearts. At the same time, he continued to work on his body, training, health, and discipline. Every day his day was scheduled by the hour. The gym, filming, charity events, family. And in the midst of all this chaos, he found time to help those who asked for support, from fans to colleagues, from charities to random people on the street. This ability to remain sincere and human in the midst of immense fame became his main distinction. The contrast of this stage is incredible, from empty school stands and first castings to red carpets, awards, and world recognition. He went through a path that could break many, but his principles remained unchanged: sincerity, kindness, and support for others. Every step he took on this path was a lesson for all of us. Success without humanity is empty, and greatness without sincerity is temporary. The first global breakthrough gave him not only fame, but also the opportunity to influence people around the world. He began to create his own projects, support young actors, and participate in charity. And each success emphasized his main value: to be a person who inspires, not just shows strength. The lesson of this stage: a real breakthrough is not just about external recognition, but about making an impact on the lives of others. Great success comes when you remain kind, sincere, and willing to help those around you. Imagine a day in the life of The Rock: the red carpet on one side, the gym and family on the other, calls from fans and partners, all at the same time. To many it seems like chaos, but for DWAYNE it is a challenge that he accepts with a smile. His life has become a game of balance. How to maintain sincerity and kindness amidst millions of camera flashes and contracts worth tens of millions of dollars. His mornings begin before dawn. The smell of fresh air, the sound of the bars in the gym, the pressure on his muscles that reminds him, you can do more. After training, there are meetings, filming, scripts, charity projects. And among all this, he finds time for his family, for his children, for his friends. Every smile, every hug is his way of remaining himself, even when the world expects a superhero image from him. The contrast of this stage is incredible: external success and internal challenge. The Rock has power and fame, but the real struggle is in the daily balance between career and humanity. He understands that without the kindness and support of others, any awards lose their meaning. And that's why he continues to help. From children's hospitals to charities, from fans to colleagues who need advice or support. One of the dramatic moments of this period was the choice between a big blockbuster and a family holiday. For many, it is a question of career, but DWAYNE chose balance. He showed that true success is not only fame, but also the ability to remain human, support loved ones, and inspire others by his example. This period taught him a new lesson. Even when life puts many demands on you, your sincerity and ability to help others remain your true strength. Every difficulty, every challenge becomes an opportunity to show humanity, not just to achieve another success. At the same time, Scala is developing his business, investing in projects that help people, and creating his own brand. He understands that influence can be expanded not only through movie screens, but also through social projects, motivational programs, and charity. And even in the midst of all this chaos, he finds time for himself, for his family, for the small joys of life that remind him of where he came from. The contrast between global fame and simple life values makes his story particularly inspiring. He shows that a true leader is not the one who shouts, but the one who leads by example, supports others, and maintains an inner goodness despite external circumstances. The lesson of this stage, true strength, lies in balance. The ability to combine career, family, helping others, and personal development is the key to a happy life. And Scala Johnson shows this with every step he takes, inspiring millions of people around the world to remain sincere, humane, and kind, even in moments of great trials. Imagine the moment when The Rock stands on top of a mountain, not just in the ring or on the red carpet, but at the very top of his life. New horizons, new projects, new challenges lie ahead. He looks ahead and sees not only his own path, but also all the people he has inspired, supported, and shared his experiences with. DWAYNE's current life is a balance between huge filming, business projects, training, and family. His mornings begin before dawn with the sound of weights in the gym, but after that he meets with colleagues, discusses scripts, helps young actors, visits charity projects. And in the midst of this rhythm, he finds time for his family, for children, wife, close friends. This reminds us that true success is not only fame and money, but sincerity, support of others, and the ability to remain human. It is important to note his daily discipline. The sound of the bars, the smell of sweat, the rhythm of training. All this is his fuel and a reminder that great achievements do not come by themselves. His life is a lesson in how to combine discipline, ambition, and humanity without losing yourself in the pursuit of glory. Despite worldwide recognition, DWAYNE continues to learn, develop, and help others. He expands his business, supports young actors, invests in social projects and charity. And he does all this not for show, but because sincerity and kindness have become his life principles. The contrast between enormous possibilities and simple values makes his story incredibly inspiring. Greatness in the world of The Rock is measured not only by blockbusters, but also by the impact on people's hearts. His every gesture, every word, every action inspires millions to be sincere, to help others, to dream and act at the same time.